We are back again with a brand new episode of Another 24. I am your incredibly handsome host, Torres Montez, and today I have a very special guest in the building. Now, this guest is a personal injury attorney. He is getting those big settlements for his clients. He's making sure his clients are relieved, making sure they're happy, and making sure that they are made whole. I have the one, the only, Mr. Jameson Sackey, man. How's it going?
It's going well, man. I appreciate you having me on your show.
Yeah, man, no problem, man. So I gotta ask you, man, how many clients you working with right now? You got any big things going on?
Man, it's too many to count. Businesses, what I will say is business is good. We are consistently getting in new clients every day, every week, and got some big cases that we're working on, both here and in South Carolina. So I'm blessed to just have the cases coming in because, like a wise lawyer once told me, cases are king. So,
there you go.
If you got cases, you got business. So,
Amen. So for the people that don't know, who is Jameson, man? How did you, first of all, how did you get started down this path?
Sure.
And what type of person is Jameson to make you want to do this type of work?
So I'll start with your first question, how I got started down this path. So I always knew that I wanted to be an attorney. I wanted to be a lawyer growing up. Like, I've always been very vocal, opinionated, and I kind of fell in love with the art of making an argument. And so, after I went to Vanderbilt 4 years, I studied political science there, which is like a very typical degree if you want to go to law school. But, I came home, I took 2 years off, finally got my stuff together, went to law school, University of South Carolina. But even when I went to law school, I knew I wanted to be a lawyer. I actually thought that I wanted to do more transactional work, or be a sports agent or entertainment type of lawyer. So not in the courtroom, litigating, going to trial, not that kind of work, but I fell into personal injury, and I loved it because who I am. I'm always I like to help people. I'm just a helpful person, I think, at my core, and if there's anything that I can do to help, I'm going to try and do that. Like, friend needs my help, call me. Right. I'll talk to you about it. I'm just that kind of person naturally, and so it goes right along with what I do, because people only come to me because they need help. They genuinely do not know what to do. They need help, and I have the knowledge, and I know how this goes. So that's why they come to me. And so, it fits my character, my personality trait perfectly.
Got it. So you said something interesting. You said the art of making an argument.
Oh, yeah.
So making an argument is art, you think?
It is an art form. It is definitely an art form. The way that you argue and articulate your points, it is an art to me. And I think that a lot of people would agree that it is an art form, that do this as well. And so, even when you're writing emotion, right, and making your argument, there's a way that you need to structure what you're writing, and it's an art to it, and you need to know when to be a little more aggressive here and pull back here. So it's interesting. I'm sure it sounds boring to a lot of people, but to me it's interesting, and there's a way to win an argument without shouting, right? Without being hostile, without it getting to a level that's not civil, right? So that's what we do as lawyers. We argue, we keep it civil, but we make our arguments to hopefully win the day. So that's what we do.
I gotta ask you this,
sure,
man. On behalf of all of the men, how do we win arguments with our girls, man? How do we do that?
See, that is different than what I do.
Okay, all right.
I still lose them.
Okay.
I lose those arguments at home, but I think being the calm one always helps you in the long run, because if she gets mad and you stay calm, then you might lose, but you win, because she was like, I was tripping, you know.
Right.
I was tripping when I said XYZ, and I was like, yeah, you know, I'm not mad about it, but that's how you win.
So you win by not fighting, basically.
You win. Yeah, you say what you got to say, but stay calm, and you know, at least that kind of helps me, like less than half the time, but you know, so.
Okay. So you said that you kind of fell into personal injury, right? So you said that you wanted to do maybe entertainment law or something like that.
Right.
So how did the personal injury law get thrust onto you?
So, story behind that is I was second year law student, and I needed a summer job. And, you know, the summer before, I had interned at, you know, Fulton County District Attorney's Office. I knew I never wanted to be a prosecutor. I really just needed a job for that summer. But my second summer, you know, I was looking for, you know, what I wanted to do. And in Atlanta, we have what's called the Gate City Bar Association, which is like the bar association for black attorneys here in Atlanta. And they have a summer internship program. And I applied to that, you know, just they pair you up with a local black attorney, and the attorneys practice you know, their practice areas are all over the board, but they paired me up with an attorney who, because me and him are in the same fraternity, and at the time he had an office here doing personal injury, wrongful death work, so they basically just paired me up with him because we were both Qs, right? That's it, you know? I never thought I wanted to do personal injury. It just never even crossed my mind that could be a practice area that would be for me. But, you know, just getting in there, doing what you are told to do, doing what he's asking me to do, getting the opportunity to talk to clients, work on cases, work on some really interesting cases, some big cases, some very complex cases. I just fell in love with the work, and I fell in love with the hustle and the grind of it, because, you know, we don't get paid by the hour. You know, we get paid when the check comes in, right? So it is a hustle, it is a grind, and you got to have the energy, yet the patience to do it. But I think I fell in love with the work, and once you resolve a case, client is happy, you know, or at least as happy as they can be, because sometimes even the money doesn't change what happened, right? You know, we just do our best to try and get you compensated for what you lost. But I think, you know, when a client is happy, it makes it all worth it. So I literally just fell into it, and I've done it my whole career. So, you know.
So what you say you fell in love with the work? What is it about the work that you love? Is it, you know, going out and, you know, doing the research and, you know, going out to these places and seeing the scene of the crime, so to speak? And like, what is it that you love about the work?
So it's not like CSI, right? Like, you know, so it's not like the scene of the crime, because typically, for most cases, right, when we're talking, you know, it's your basic car accident, right? You know, say you get rear-ended. I'm not going out to the scene for that. You know, take your pictures, send them to me. If it happened in the Atlanta area, I pretty much know where it is and what happened. But yes, doing the investigative work, reading the police report, doing your background searches on people, all of that is interesting. Making sure that your clients, you know, one, you build that relationship with the client. So that is always good, because, you know, I've met so many people doing this work that I would have never come across if I wasn't a personal injury attorney. So it's always good to build those relationships with these people, with your clients. And then, honestly, learning the medicine behind this stuff is also interesting, because I read medical records every single day. And I am not a doctor, but I've had to Google so many medical terms, you know, objective findings. You got to Google all of that to figure out what exactly is this doctor talking about. The medicine, you know, I don't know any of that. And so I spent a lot of time just researching what exactly that is, learning. I learned something new, you know, every day just from doing that. And it's interesting. What makes it interesting also is, you know, how are you going to build your case up? Because every case is different.
Right.
So how are you going to build it up, right? Because I'm saying I like to think of working the cases, we're building damages. You know, we have to build the damages up in order to present your case to, you know, whatever insurance company that we're talking about. So there's a million ways to skin a cat. And so in each case, it's nuanced, right? And so for this case, how are we going to do it? What's our issues? How are we going to overcome these issues? What's our strengths, and how are we going to play the strengths up? So again, that's all a part, goes back to the art of making an argument. It's like, you know, you have to figure each case out because no two cases are the same.
Yeah, it sounds like you're wearing a lot of different hats, man.
Yeah, too many. yeah, too many. But, you know, once you do it, it becomes, it's just what you do. It's part of being a personal injury attorney. You have to do these things. So
have you ever come across a client that's like trying to hustle the system a little bit, trying to scam people out of money?
Yeah.
Really? So how do you deal with that?
Once I find it out, I would disengage from a case quick. If I find out that I've had to, right? You know, say you got a slip and fall at a Walmart, and before you even file a lawsuit, an adjuster is like, hey, look, just take a look at this video and tell me what you think. They won't say one way or another what happened. They're just like, hey, look, we don't even really do this, but take a look at this video, tell me what you think. And unfortunately, people do try to manufacture their own personal injuries, personal injury cases. And so, you know, when you find it out, you just got to say, hey, we have to disengage. I'm not calling, and I never want to be accusatory, right? You know, so
I'll say it for you.
You're right. I'm not saying that you are lying about what happened. I'm just saying that from the way that it looks, this doesn't look like a viable case to us, and it looks like it doesn't look like we'll be able to really put our best foot forward to fight for you. That's how you frame it.
Okay. Yeah.
But you can't defend liars.
Yeah, right.
You know, it's hard. It's the hardest thing to do, I'd say. You know, because I probably can speak for every personal injury attorney out there. Like, we've all been in these situations where there's that gotcha moment, and they, you know, the insurance company or opposing counsel tells you, like, hey, we know your client's lying. And you got to make a choice, right? So it happens. But whenever there's a system, somebody's going to game it.
Right.
You know, that is a part of it. So, you know, we do our best to vet the cases, and really, because this takes a lot of time.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of people who really genuinely need my help. I need to make sure I'm dealing with them and not people who really don't, and they're just trying to get a payday. So that's how I deal with that.
All right. Yeah, y'all don't be trying to, hey, y'all do the right thing out there.
Right, right. Please.
Right.
Please.
So what's the biggest misconception about personal injury attorneys, you think?
That we only care about the money, and that we're quote-unquote ambulance chasers or whatnot. And so I think that some of the marketing from some attorneys that are out there kind of give people that view, but it's really not true. I mean, obviously, every industry, you got your bad actors.
Right.
You know, you got your people that you know, your lawyers that have stolen money from clients and whatnot. But that, by and large, we genuinely care about our clients and making sure that we get max compensation for what they have lost. And so, you know, I think that's the biggest misconception, though, is just that we don't really care about the client. All we care about is getting paid.
Dang, so lawyers steal money from clients?
It has happened.
How?
Hey, look, when the client gets paid through the firm. So the insurance company will send the check to my firm. I have to put it in an escrow account. Once it clears, then we disperse money.
I see.
But there have been times where that money stays in escrow and then it just makes its way to an attorney's operating account without ever being paid out to the client. That's when you run into some problems, and that's how you know, you're not a lawyer anymore.
Right,
Once you get found out, you know, like that's how that happens. So, but I mean, like I said, whenever there is money involved or a system, there are going to be some people that unfortunately take advantage.
Right.
And, you know, we don't condone it as good attorneys. Obviously, we don't condone it. We don't want that, you know, but there are bad actors. And so those people get found out and they get disbarred, and, you know, but not every lawyer is like that. Right. So, you know, obviously, when you're trying to choose an attorney, talk to that attorney, vet that attorney. If you know somebody that has had to hire an attorney, talk to their attorney, you know, like that's had a good experience with an attorney. You know, you want to be careful because, you know, you can't trust everybody as a client. You can't trust everybody. So you just want to be careful and make sure that, you know, who you're using is reputable. That's it.
So I got a question for you, man.
Go ahead.
So you deal with insurance companies
every day.
Every day. And we hear a lot of, you know, negative things about the insurance industry. You know, they don't want to pay out. They don't want to, you know, they deny claims and stuff like that. What is your take on how insurance companies operate? Is it usually above board, or do they? No?
Nope.
Okay.
Everything you said is true. Like when I get a case and I explain what's going on to a client, because a client feels like, hey, this person hit me. I wasn't at fault. They should be paying this. They should be doing that. I said, look, these insurance companies are not on your side.
Right.
Even if they've accepted liability, it is their job to watch out for the insurance company's pockets, not pay you, right? If it was that easy, I wouldn't have a job, right? You know, if it was that easy just to get paid what the case is actually worth, you wouldn't need me. But the reason why you're here is because it's not easy, but I know how to make that happen. Now, if you try to go at it on your own, these insurance companies, they do not want to pay you, right? It is, every company has a bottom line, right? They have a bottom line. And so the way that they maintain their own bottom line is not to pay out on insurance claims. And so we wish that it was different, but it's not. You know, and that's the fight that we fight every single day. It's just, you know, insurance companies, you pay them all this money, but when you need them, they don't want to pay out.
Exactly.
Right? You know, they don't want. That's how their business works. So, you know, unfortunately, it is that way, and you know, but that's why we do what we do.
Yeah, it's crazy because it's almost like insurance companies should almost be nonprofit. Because it's like a conflict of interest.
Yeah, but you know, they have so much power, and you know, their job is to make money off of your money, and then you know, it's actually a beautiful business model. It's money in, little money out. you know, just you pay them for protection for something that you might need. Right. You know. It's not you don't always need to use your insurance. It's just in case. And you're paying for that. You're paying for peace of mind. And so, you know, they make a lot of money doing that amongst other things that they do to make money. And so, you know, that's why I don't feel bad when we, you know, we gotta.
Yeah, because they got it. Yeah, they sitting on a hoard of cash.
It's there. It's there, you know. And you know, I tell clients, hey, look, just because you see this policy limit, that doesn't necessarily mean that's what your case is worth. But we'll figure out what the case is worth, and we'll make sure we get that for you. You know, so that's our goal.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. What is something that insurance companies hope that clients don't, or not clients, but I guess what is something that insurance companies hope that people don't know after an accident?
And where do you start? They don't want you to know that you don't have to talk to them. One.
Okay. You don't have to talk to them.
You don't have to talk to them about your injuries and, you know, your treatment. You don't have to talk to them. They don't want you to know that when they throw out that first offer that you don't have to take it. Because a lot of times what will happen is, you know, a client or a potential client will call the insurance company and, you know, they'll start working on their property damage, basically getting their car fixed. And they'll tell the insurance company that, you know, they were hurt. And so the insurance company will say, hey, well, you know, we'll pay you $2,000 to get your car fixed, and we'll pay you, you know, $500 or $1,000 for your medical, right? And a lot of people will take it because it's like, hey, $1,000, I'll take that. Free money, free money, they'll take it. Unfortunately, your case is potentially worth way more than that, and they don't want you to know that. They don't want you to consult an attorney because a lot of these insurance companies how they work now is, you know, there's one adjuster, but then once you hire an attorney, it's a completely different adjuster because now it's like a different level of, you know, expertise that needs to go into it, you know, even on their side. And then even when you file a lawsuit, now you get a different adjuster because you get a litigation adjuster. So there's levels to what they do, you know, at these insurance companies. There's levels to it. And so they don't want you to know really how valuable your case is potentially is and how to really get that value out of it. They don't want you to know that. And so what else did they not want you to know? It's so much that they just, you know, that they get away with really paying out, like really underselling claim. Really, I mean, they just sell you on, hey, we'll give you this much money, and hope that you just take it and go away. Right. Like so many cases. So that's I'd say the two main things. And they, you know, but once you hire an attorney, you know, things change. I'd say things definitely change.
So a good rule of thumb is to never take that first offer.
Never take the first offer, because if they gave you all they had, they would tell you that. You know, like, you know, never take the first offer. And a good rule of thumb is that even if you don't hire an attorney, talk to an attorney. You know, talk to an attorney to figure out, you know, what's going on, what you need to do, and if you need to hire an attorney, because I mean, it's a lot of work. It's a lot that goes into, you know, fighting these cases. And you, as a potential client, you don't have the time to dedicate to that.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
This is what I do every day. Like, I do have the time to do it. But, you know, you just need to focus on getting yourself better. Go to the doctor. You know, hiring an attorney alleviates so much pressure from a client. And so, you know, these are all things that I think clients should do, but then also that insurance companies don't want you to do. Right. So.
Okay. So how do clients like accidentally hurt their own cases? Have that ever happened to you?
It happens all the time, all the time. So I'd say the first thing is talking to an insurance company, you know, because they are not on your side. When you talk to them about what happened, about, you know, what's going on with you medically, they are looking for things to devalue your claim. That's what they're doing. You know, they're not trying to put more money on it from talking to you, right? You know, like, they're not trying to help you out that way. Also, not going to treatment or skipping treatment, having these, these gaps in your treatment also hurts your case. Because the insurance company, their logic is, well, if you're not treating, then you must not be hurt.
Right, yeah, exactly.
And it's an argument that works. It's an argument that works at trial. Like, hey, if this person's not treating, that means they must be fine. They're not hurt. So that can kill a case if there's like these wide gaps in treatment and it's inexplicable, right? Social media can kill your case.
Dang, really?
This is a true story. I'm in a mediation, and my client, it's a trucking accident. And fortunately, my client wasn't catastrophically injured, right? Like we see with a lot of trucking cases, but his wasn't like that. But his case was still, pretty valuable in my eyes. And, we're in the middle of a mediation, and, all the whole time the client's talking about, I could have died, like they need to do this, they need to do that. Mm-hmm. And, by the time you get to mediation, the case is already 1.5 years, 2 years old, right? So we're in the middle of mediation, and the mediator comes back in. He says, now I want to talk to y'all about something that they just showed me, and I think that you all really need to discuss this amongst yourselves. So I know it's bad, right? Right, when you start off like that, I know it's bad.
They come at you like that.
Yeah, and so he shows me my client's Instagram, where not even 2 months after the accident, he's in Jamaica having a grand old time, living it up, and literally he's looking at the camera saying, oh man, I feel so great right now. Like this is, like I'm in paradise, I feel so great. I'm like, I look at him and said, so what do you want to do? Right, what do you want to do? Like, we're not going to get the number that I thought that we could get. And so, we had to settle the case for way less than what, I had anticipated, but it's all because of social media. And, they're watching your social media. They'll figure it out. They'll, just like I can find your IG page, so can they. All right, and they're doing it to make sure that you're not posting things like that. So, yeah, social media is a big one. So for all of our clients, we try to instruct them like, hey, if you got a claim, forget that you have social media until it's over. Like you can be on there, like stuff, repost, whatever, but don't post any pictures of yourself, even of you smiling. Because they'll use anything to try to devalue your claim. They would, these insurance companies, they will use whatever they can to not pay you. So don't give them a reason.
Right. So it's almost like the police. It's like talking to the police. Don't say nothing because anything you say will be used against you.
Exactly. Let me do the talking for you. You don't say anything. Let me do the talking for you. Exactly.
Dang, man. Well, if somebody waits too long to, I guess, seek compensation after an accident, how does that hurt their case?
Well, so I'll start by saying that each state has what we call a statute of limitations, right? And so that is the time that you have between the accident and filing a lawsuit. So here in Georgia, you have 2 years to do that. And once that 2 years passes, if you haven't filed your lawsuit, then your case is barred. Like you cannot seek recovery. So if you get in an accident, you want to tend to that ASAP. You want to file a claim with the insurance companies. You want to hire your attorney as soon as possible because the clock is ticking. And so if you wait too late, even if you wait too late, then you could potentially not have a case. But say you wait, I've had clients come to me, an accident happened 3 months ago or 6 months ago, and they've never sought medical treatment. They haven't consulted with an attorney yet, and they're coming to me now saying like, I was in an accident way back when, and I was hurting, but I never did anything about it. What can I do now? And unfortunately, we have to turn those kind of cases away unless it's, you're dealing with like a break or a fracture or something like that. But we have to turn those cases away just because there has been so much time between accident and now when you're bringing a claim and now when you're trying to seek medical treatment that the case has already lost a lot of value. And so it's unfortunate, but that's why, if anybody asks me, hey, you get in an accident, call the police, you go get some medical treatment, and then you call an attorney. Those three things, right? Because time is of the essence. And people don't realize that a lot of times, like, because they don't do this every day.
Right, exactly. I mean, it would make sense that, you would expect somebody to seek their compensation or at least reach out to an expert or an attorney immediately after.
Yeah, you would expect it, but, for what it's worth, most people don't know an attorney. They don't know doctors and they don't know attorneys, right? So say they do go to the emergency room. After that,
then what? Right.
Then what? Right. Where do I go? They don't know a doctor to go to, and they don't know an attorney to consult. So that's why there are so many billboards around for personal injury attorneys, just because we have to let the general public know, like, hey, if this happens to you, you need to call us, because a lot of times people just don't know.
Right.
So yeah.
So I have a question about, let's just say the Walmart example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody gets hurt in a Walmart. Mm-hmm. I don't remember who it was, but I know somebody, they got hit by like the when the shopping carts.
Yeah.
It's like a machine that they use and it hit somebody. Anyway, I know people can be kind of deterred or maybe a little scared to go against a Walmart that has $1 billion backings and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It's like David going against Goliath.
Right.
But you can win against a Walmart or something like that, right?
Absolutely. You can win.
Even though they have all of these resources at their disposal. Right.
But, I mean, if the law's on your side, right, if the liability piece is on your side, and then you have, the causation piece as well. So what I'm talking about is, say there's, somebody spilled something on the floor at a Walmart, and enough time has passed where if the employees in that Walmart were doing their routine inspections, they would have seen it and would have cleaned it up. But if that didn't happen and you slip and fall on it because you didn't see it, because, you're shopping, you're looking left, you're looking right, whatever you're doing, you didn't see that puddle of water on the floor and you slip and you fall, you can win that case because, the law is on your side. They should have been inspecting their aisles routinely. And if somebody walks past, and I've had this kind of case where an employee actually will walk past a hazard that's on the floor because they're on their phone, not paying attention, even though at Walmart they say that, their employees are trained to always be looking around and always be on notice, right? But they're not. Clearly, right. You're looking on your phone, you're not looking at the ground.
Exactly.
But you walk by it, you didn't do anything about it, enough time passed, and then my client slipped and fell. Hey, that's a good case, right, in my opinion. And I would take it and work it up, and we hopefully get a favorable resolution for the client. But just there's a lot of companies out there that get hit every year for major verdicts, settlements, that have a lot of money. So don't be afraid just because of who the company is to make your claim. Trust me, Walmart deals with 1 million claims a year. They deal with so many claims a year. Just because, it's a massive business, right? And they have stores everywhere that attract thousands of people per store a day. So there's always going to be a slip and fall here. Or, hey, somebody got hit with like that machine. That machine we were talking about. Somebody got hit with that. There's always going to be something.
Right.
So don't be afraid. I'd say a lot of attorneys work on a lot of slip and fall cases out of Walmart,
right.
and it's not for no reason.
Right.
So
you seen Friday, right?
seen Friday.
Yeah,
my
okay.
neck, my back, my neck and my back.
150,000. How much can you get for a slip and fall, you think? I mean, it's going to depend, I'm sure.
It all depends on the extent of your injuries, the treatment that you've had to go through to get yourself better, how long you've had to treat, how it's affected your daily life, how it's affected your ability to work and earn a living. So it all depends, right? I mean, sometimes the case is only worth $50,000. Sometimes it's worth $500,000. Sometimes it's worth $5 million. It all depends on what actually happened to you. There's really no one size fits all resolution. It's all case specific for sure.
Got it. So how do you comfort your clients when they have to go through all these treatments? They got to see these doctors. They got to go to court. They have to talk to you. Like, how do you keep them comfortable and keep them encouraged when going through that whole process?
Be an outlet. We practice law, but a lot of this practice is honestly being a therapist. And just being there for your client, letting them talk, letting them vent. Because, at the end of the day, it's taking up time in your day, but I mean, one, it's your client, and then two, they need to talk to somebody. Right. They don't really have anybody else that's this close to the situation to talk to, that truly understands everything that's going on. So, you just got to be there for them, be an outlet. When they call, pick up. If you can't pick up right that minute, call them back, talk it out with them. Because a lot of times they just want to get stuff off their chest, and they're frustrated with the process. Trust me, I get it. These things can take a long time, and when you're the one that has been wrong, like I have the luxury of being your lawyer. I wasn't injured though.
Right.
So I completely feel where you're coming from, but you're the one having to live with it every day. Not me, fortunately, right?
Yeah, right.
So, but I fight as if I'm going through this with you, and I'm not going to tolerate, an offer that I don't think is just compensation for you, because I understand what you've been going through. And so, so that's how you comfort a client. Other than that, obviously if they need like some mental health, therapy, make sure that, they have outlets for that as well, and that you can refer them to somebody. But, it's really just being there for them, because there's really not much you can do to make it better, right? I can't make it better for you, man. I tell clients, like, hey, I get it, I understand. Just make sure that you're continuing to go to treatment. Don't skip your doctor visits. If you think that some of this treatment isn't working, let me know. And, we might be able to figure something else out for you. But, just maintain that line of communication with the client. That's the best thing that I think you can do for them.
Got it. So, I have a question about the compensation. So is it usually just money, or is it medical expenses? Is it, ongoing therapy or mental health services, or what does it look like?
Yeah. So, compensation is just what it says. It's compensation. So they are paying you back for what you've had to go through, and paying you sometimes in advance for what you will have to go through. If we can show and prove, like, hey, there's going to be some future medical bills because the treatment is ongoing, but we get you compensated. And so the insurance company isn't going to set up your mental health treatment, right? They're not going to set up your doctor's visits and things like that for you. What they want you to do is like, hey, when the treatment is done, let us know what the treatment was. Send us the medical records, send us the medical bills. Let us know what else you all are claiming as damages, and we can work to resolve the case that way.
God.
So
Okay.
it's really getting you compensated for everything that you've had to go through. Like say you've had to miss work and you've lost out on money, right? So we get you compensated for your lost wages too. It's all tied in to that final settlement. So that's how that works. It's not, the insurance company's not going to do anything for you. They're just going to send you a check. That's all they want to do is send you the check. So, and, for certain cases, you'd hope that some of it leads to, like policy changes at, like say, a store or a business or a trucking company. You'd hope that it leads to them changing their policies and procedures to be more mindful of the potential hazards that they can cause to other people. But, that's an internal process rather than what we make them do. So they're just trying to get you paid.
Right.
So.
Okay. So how has being a husband and a father approached how you, or changed how you approach your work?
Well, one, I'd say time management wise.
Okay.
Especially once the kids came, right? Because I used to be able to, even when my wife and I were just dating, I'd work late at the office, stay there till 7, 8 o'clock, getting things done. And even when we first got married, I could do that. When some kids come, you can't do that anymore. You can't do that anymore. So it just changed how I have to structure my day. One, if I have to work later at night, we do that. I have to make sure that I am diligent while I'm in my office because if I got to go pick the kids up, I got to leave here at 4 o'clock. I got to go get them. And, but I'd say the biggest thing is just the drive, right? I mean, you want to do well. One, I'm self-motivated, right? I want to do well for myself, but I also want to do well because I know my wife is looking at me, and I want to make her proud and prove to her that I can do this and that I didn't make the wrong choice in going out on my own, starting my firm. I definitely want to make her proud and obviously be able to provide for her and the children and everything. But you just want to do something great because you got people looking at you, and so. Obviously, my kids are super young now, so they have no idea what I do. But as they grow older, for sure, I want them to understand and be proud of what I'm doing. With my day while they're at school, I'm at work helping people, and getting them paid for things that they've lost and getting them compensated. And so I want them to be proud of that one day. And so they just help with the drive and but they also help when I need a break, right? My wife will call and text me. I don't say a million times. I ain't gonna do you like that. But she'll call and text me during the day, and it kind of forces me to take a little break. And when you go home, there is no working while the kids are up. This is not a thing. So that gives you a little bit of a break too. And then once they go down, you can get back to it. So that I love being a family man. I love being a family man because especially during this juncture of my life where it's like I'm new into entrepreneurship, it just means so much more when you can still do things for your family because of the work that you're doing. And it makes it feel like, okay, all of this isn't in vain. Like I'm still being able to support my wife and my kids doing what I'm doing. So I love it.
Good. All right. So if somebody is looking to hire a lawyer, what are some questions they need to be asking this lawyer to make sure they're a good fit to represent them?
Ask them, I'd say this, and this is just me being biased because I am a litigator. Ask your lawyer if they have litigation experience, because cases oftentimes get settled before you file a lawsuit, but sometimes to really get that value that you're supposed to get out of a case, you need to file a lawsuit. And there are a lot of attorneys that don't want to litigate, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And they'll refer a case when it needs to be litigated. So, just ask that attorney, like, hey, do you have any litigation experience? Also, ask the attorney, ask them a trick question. Ask them, so how long is this going to take? And see what they say, right? If a lawyer gives you a hard date, like, hey, we'll get this done in 90 days, don't hire that attorney. Don't hire that, because there's no telling how long this can take, and you want an attorney that's going to be honest with you, not one that's going to tell you what you want to hear, right? And I pride myself on that. Just like, hey, look, I will tell you the good, bad, the ugly, and the detrimental. Like, I have to be honest with you at every juncture of your case, no matter what. I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. And so if you feel as if a lawyer is just telling you, like, making everything sound good and just telling you what you want to hear, be mindful of that. So that would be the two things that I'd ask.
Okay, all right. So you're gonna ask some trick questions here, like, man.
Yeah, just to see what they say.
Just see what they say. All right. Well, I kind of want to switch it up a little bit, man.
All right.
I want to ask you some like this or that questions, man, to kind of see where your mind is. All right.
Okay.
So, settlement or trial? Which ones you liking?
That in itself is a trick question. Trial is fun when you're trying the right case. But I'm going to have to say settlement only because 95% of my cases settle. Like, the overwhelming majority of them don't go to trial. But it's always fun when you can, litigate and tee it up. And you'd be surprised. Even the cases that you think are going to trial, the day before trial, they will settle.
Really?
That's happened a lot.
Really?
To me. Yeah. So
they scared, huh?
We've done all the things. We've done the song and dance. We've done all the work, and they're like, look, they're exposed. They've finally realized, like, okay, they're exposed here, and so let's just get this resolved for what they want before we get hit with something that we are not anticipating. So that happens, but I'd say settlement, and I will say this too, because most clients actually don't want to go to trial. I mean, that it takes a while to get to trial, so most clients don't want to wait two and a half years, maybe 3, maybe longer. Yeah,
it makes sense. They want their money.
Right.
All right. Big verdict or fast resolution?
Big verdict.
Big verdict?
Yeah, big verdict.
Okay. Even if it takes a little longer?
Even if it takes a little longer, because, if it's a potentially, like, big verdict type of case, then, yeah, big verdict over fast resolution. Because fast resolution, you're leaving money on the table for your client every time.
All right. Negotiation or courtroom?
Well, it's two different things. I'm gonna give you a lawyerly answer. It depends. Okay. What are we doing in court? Like, are we fighting? We're arguing motions. Are we, are we just showing up for a status conference? Because then I'd say negotiations. Because I love negotiating. I love trying to get it done if it's at a point where we can get it done.
Right.
But I like the courtroom, especially when I haven't been in there in a while. Like, because there are times where, because, you don't litigate every case, and you definitely don't try every case. And so there are times when, especially now in the virtual world, where it's like, I haven't actually been in a courtroom in like 2-3 months, because I might have had a virtual hearing. Right. I haven't been in a courtroom in a little minute. So it's always fun to get in the courtroom. I'll go courtroom because it's fun to get in there and feel like a lawyer. Feel really,
It's like the game. It's like Friday Night Lights.
Right. It's like, okay, it's showtime right now. So I say courtroom.
All right. So do you like solo focus or team strategy?
Definitely team strategy. And I say that as a solo practitioner right now. But if I were to try a case right now, I would definitely get some people on my team. I think even litigating a case, it's always good to just consult with other attorneys and say, hey, you know, how, especially when you're dealing with a truly complex matter, hey, how would you approach this? Hey, this is what I'm dealing with. Have you dealt with that before? And if so, how did you overcome XYZ? So I like, you know, I grew up an athlete, so being on a team is natural for me. So I like the team aspect of practicing law as well. And, you know, I know a lot of really great attorneys that are more than willing to hop on the phone and help me. So, yeah, it's hard to do it alone. It's hard to do this by yourself.
Yeah, I bet, man. I bet, because I'm sure you just hours and hours and hours of building the case.
Right. You know, and there could be something that you're not even thinking about.
Right.
That somebody else, you know, they might have that tidbit for you that you need.
All right. Detailed prep or trusting experience?
You said detailed prep or trust and experience?
Do you trust your experience or do you just prep?
At this point, I trust my experience, but this is hard. This is hard because it's like I trust my experience because of the detailed preparation. You know, it's detailed preparation. You have to know everything about your case, including where the warts are. You know, what we call the warts or the landmines, right? You got to know the good and the bad of your case. And you can only know that from truly digging into it, you know, truly digging into the medical records, talking to your client to know what kind of client you have and like how do you think that they are going to do in a deposition, or if it gets to trial on, you know, on the witness stand. Like you have to be detailed prep, but you only know where to spend your time and what to do through your experience. So I'm gonna say both. I'm gonna say both on that one.
All right.
Yeah.
High stakes cases or everyday wins?
Whew. I'm gonna go high stakes cases.
Really?
Just because you know, with what we do, it's not like there. So let me walk that back. With my practice, with what I deal with a lot of, you know, of what you would consider the typical personal injury cases, right? Your rear end collisions, your, you know, T-bone collisions, that sort of thing. Not all of those cases have catastrophic injuries. You know, they're mainly what you would consider soft tissue injuries, which I think are very, very real injuries.
Yeah. Because,
you know, those soft tissue injuries they're with you for the rest of your life sometimes. So, but when you get a high stakes case, you know, it's fun. Like you're like, oh wow. You know what I mean? Like, and we treat every case like, hey, we need to do our absolute best for the client. But there's always a difference when it's a high stakes case because there's a lot more work that probably needs to go into it, a lot more preparation, a lot more collaboration that needs to go into it, and you're probably going to have to litigate this case. Like if you're asking for a lot of money, they don't give that away willingly, right?
Yeah, of course.
So you're probably gonna have to put in a lot of time with the case. Now there are some firms out there I know that only do like the high stakes cases. Like they won't take the cases that I'll take because they're like, hey, we got to work on this, you know, $5 million or $50 million case. Like we can't, we don't have the bandwidth to even take a $25,000 car wreck case. So, but obviously their caseload is a lot smaller than what, you know, a lot of other law firms' caseloads would be. So, But yeah, high stakes cases, those are always fun.
All right. So you love what you do, man. You look at it as fun, huh?
Yeah. No, I mean, it is fun. I mean, it's hard. I mean, there are some aspects of it that are not fun.
Right.
Definitely. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, but it's fun to do.
Okay. All right. Do you like winning quietly or making a statement? Yeah, making a statement. Huh?
I would say before I opened up my firm, I was okay with winning quietly. I was okay with, hey, we just settle for pretty sizable, amount, clients happy, good to go. But now I'm in the space where I'm not only doing legal work, but I'm also trying to promote myself and promote my business, that I kind of gotta put it in your face when we do have like a big settlement, or we get even like a 5-star review, right? Like, I gotta put it in your face just so to put the world on notice of what we're doing, right? So naturally, I'd say the winning quietly. Right. But now I'm kind of forced to make a statement.
Okay. All right. Justice served or client relieved? Even if it's not.
I would say that's a tough one, because I'm going to say justice served, right? And I say that hesitantly because what is justice in this sense, right? But sometimes you get those cases where, hey, look, no matter what we do here, there's nothing that can make up for the client's loss,
right?
And so a lot of times you don't really have that client relief, or like, they're happy that the case is over, but they're not ecstatic about life. They might have lost somebody. They might be, permanently injured. And so while the tough part about what we do is we have to place dollar amounts on that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's tough. It's a tough space to be in, but that's what our system requires, right? Hey, somebody's death has a dollar amount tied to it in our system, and you hate to say it, but it is what it is. And so how I can go to sleep at night is saying, like, hey, there's nothing else that I could have done for this client. I got them everything that I think we could get them. There's nothing that we can do to bring their loved one back. There's nothing we can do to, reverse the hands of time and go back to before, the incident. There's nothing that we can do. But what we can do, we did do. And that's what that's what I have to find solace in a lot of times. So, I forgot even what the either or was, but I'm just gonna say, justice served. Justice served.
Okay,
sure.
All right. Now the name of this show is Another 24, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why it's called Another 24 is because, that's the biggest blessing that we can get, right? Another day, another, day to chase your dreams or start a new path, continue down the path, right or wrong, or whatever it is you want to do, right? So you know that there is a young man out there that's watching everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
He sees Jameson has his own firm. He wants to have his own firm one day. He sees you get a big settlement for your client. He wants to get a big settlement for his client one day. Mm-hmm. So if you could take like 30 seconds to talk to this young man, to encourage and motivate him to continue going through his next 24, what would you say to him? I want you to look at that camera and speak to that young man.
All right, so young man, first, have a dream, and do not be afraid to dream big, and don't let anybody tell you what you can and cannot do. That's the first thing. But then once you have a dream, you gotta have a goal. And once you have a goal, you gotta work towards it. You can't just be here. Nothing is given, everything is earned. So just remember that. But then also, if you wanna do what I do, remember, I give you a page from my dad's book. everything you do for the uplift of other people, and your success and what's coming to you will come. Don't worry about the money, although it's hard to do, because money is a real thing. It's hard to do, but worry about and concern yourself with uplifting other people, helping other people out, and everything else will fall into place. So that is my advice to you, young man.
All right. So how can people find you, man?
Follow me on all the socials. So Instagram, Jameson_Sackey. That's JAMESON_SACKEY. Follow my law firm, Sackey Law LLC. You can spell that.
Right.
Sackey Law LLC on Instagram, TikTok as well. We got a Facebook page. You can Google me. Right. My website, SackeyLawLLC.com. I am extremely reachable. Facebook even, we got Facebook pages. So, yeah, just follow me on all the socials and call me 678-515-2002. That's the number.
All right. Well, listen, Jameson, I appreciate you pulling up.
Man, I appreciate
So it's a great conversation,
yes.
man. Anytime, you want to have a spot to let us know what's going on with you and your law firm, you got a space to do it, my brother.
Definitely. No, I appreciate you having me.
All right,
For real.
Yeah, that's a wrap.
All right.
Hey.